Hare Krishna, thank you for joining. It's the last reading of this chapter of this canto. So you can congratulate yourself for completing canto 1. And let's begin with Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giravardhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giravardhari Shodanandana Rajjana Ranjana Shodanandana Rajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Agyantivrindasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavcha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathamritam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Sarvadhutam Krishna Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shiva Shakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshware Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranmami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatrayascha Kalpa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasti Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Garim Yat Kirpatahum Mandeshi Gurun Teen Taranam Paramananda Madam Shri Chaitanya Ishram Hari Om Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jamaduriyat Nashta Preshabdresha Nityabhag Seva Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtaki Jai. Okay. So last time, where did we finish? We finished on the fact that all the sages, all the great sages were assembled and they were all glorified. At least the main ones that we now have were glorified. And then Sukadeva Goswami, he arrived on the scene. He was glorified. And then he was given the presidential seat. Maharaj had two questions from him. He says, what is the duty of everyone and what is the duty of the one who's about to die? There's two questions, Maharaj, and then Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, when he begins, it sort of answers these two questions. What is the duty of everyone? What is the duty of someone who's about to die any moment? So which is actually both for us. And there was the sages different, what should we be doing now, what Maharaj should be doing. Now he has 7 days to live. The sages' opinions differed. So Krishna arranged for Shukadeva Goswami to come on the scene and explain. So Maharaj was asking actually all the sages of these two questions, and then Shukadeva Goswami arrives and he will ask him the same, and then what happens next. So let's continue. Okay. Okay. Prashantam asinam akuntam edasam munim nirpo bhagavato bahyupetya parnamya murdhanava vitha kritne jiler natva gira sunratyanava prishit. So Prashantam, perfectly pacified, asinam, sitting, akuntha, without hesitation, Medasam, one who has sufficient intelligence, Munim, unto the great sage, Nirpaha, the king Maharaj Parikshit, Bhagavata, the great devotee, Abhu Petya, approaching him, Pranamya, bow down, Murdana, his head, Avitha, properly, Krit, Anjali, with folded hands, Natva, politely, Gira, by words, Suritya, in sweet voices, Anva Prishat, inquired. So the sage Shri Sukadeva Goswami sat perfectly pacified, intelligent and ready to answer any questions without hesitation. The great devotee Maharaj Parikshit approached him, offered his respects by bowing before him, and politely inquired with sweet words and folded hands. The gesture now adopted by Maharaj Parikshit of questioning a master is quite befitting in terms of scriptural injunctions. The scriptural injunction is that one should humbly approach a spiritual master to understand the transcendental science. Maharaj Parikshit was now prepared for meeting his death, and within the very short time of 7 days, he was to know the process of entering the kingdom of God. In such important cases, one is required to approach a spiritual master. There is no necessity of approaching a spiritual master unless one is in need of solving the problems of life. So that's what the spiritual master does, helps you solve the problem of life. One who doesn't know how to put questions before the spiritual master has no business seeing him. And the qualification of spiritual master is perfectly manifested in the person of Shukadeva Goswami, both the spiritual master and the disciple, namely Shri Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit, attained perfection through the medium of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Sukadeva Goswami, by reciting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in 7 days, also gets the benefit. Sukadeva Goswami, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, learned Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from his father Vyasadeva, but he had no chance to recite it before. So before Maharaj Parikshit, he had recited Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and answered the question of Maharaj Parikshit. Before Maharaj Parikshit, he had recited Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and answered the questions of Maharaj Parikshit unhesitatingly. And thus, both the master and the disciple got salvation. So how great is that? By Kirtanam and Shravanam, you can get salvation. So this is 31. So spiritual master is there to solve the problem of life. If we are not advancing, then don't blame the spiritual master is mentioned. Don't blame the process. Like we have Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, and he has given us the process. You cannot blame him or the process if you didn't, succeed. It's like your school teacher. You can't really blame the teacher if he's qualified, and you can't blame your syllabus or your subject if you didn't pass your exams. It's down to you then to do something. You cannot rely totally on your teacher and the syllabus to pass you. You have to make the effort. Review your application of the process. Review your consciousness. Review your attitude to the process. The seriousness of the process. So how did we receive the process? It's really up to us. Are we serious about it, or do we just take it in a very light way? How much effort did we put in ourselves? Did we really want it? Do we have any enthusiasm to learn and to follow the process, and not just to learn, then use the process? Because if we didn't, then what can the teacher do? What can the subject, the subject may be laid out in the best possible way. You could go to Harvard University and have the best teachers and the best subject, but if you're not willing to put the effort in, then don't blame the master. Simple. So we have a responsibility as students as well. So 32. Prikshita vacha aho adyavyam brahman satsevya kshetra bandhava kirpya tithi rupena bhavatis tirthakaha kritha. So the fortunate king Parikshit said, "O Brahman, by your mercy only excuse me, you have sanctified us, making us like unto places of pilgrimage, all by your presence here as my guest. By your mercy, we who are but unworthy royalty become eligible to serve the devotee." So, to be politically correct, as we say nowadays, it's okay for Maharaj Parikshit to say that who are but unworthy royalty, but it wasn't right for Shringi to say that you are just an unworthy royalty, and you're like dogs and we are the masters, and that was just nonsense. So, but you can say about yourself whatever you want, but not about others. Saintly devotees like Shukadeva Goswami generally do not approach worldly enjoyers, especially those in royal orders, just like Mahaprabhu. He kept away from, here we go, it tells you here, Maharaj Pratap Rudra was a follower of Lord Chaitanya, but when he wanted to see the Lord refused to see him because he was a king. For a devotee who desires to go back to Godhead, two things are strictly prohibited: worldly enjoyers and women. Therefore, devotees of the standard of Shukadeva Goswami are never interested in seeing kings. Maharaj Parikshit was, of course, a different case. He was a great devotee, although a king, and therefore Shukadeva Goswami came to see him in his last stage of life. Maharaj Parikshit, out of his devotional humility, felt himself an unworthy descendant of his great Kshatriya forefathers. So he felt that they were much greater than him. Although he was as great as his predecessors, the unworthy sons of the royal orders are called Kshatrabandhavs, as the unworthy sons of the Brahmins are called Dvij Bandhus or Brahm Bandhus. Maharaj Parikshit was greatly encouraged by the presence of Shukadeva Goswami. He felt himself sanctified by the presence of the great saint, whose presence turns any place into a place of pilgrimage. Amazing. So that's that. So Maharaj Parikshit is actually glorifying Shukadeva Goswami and thanking him for his association. So once again, He's thanking him for making time, and of course, generally the great saints don't meet royalty, but he has come because he recognizes Maharaj Parikshit as a great devotee, and plus he's about to leave his body, so he come to help him. Yesha samassa maranat pumsam sadya shuddhanti vyagriha kim punardarshan sparsha pad socha sana dibhihi. So yesham, of whom, some maranat, by remembrance. So we just continue. Simply by our remembering you, our houses become instantly sanctified, and what to speak of seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, and offering your seat in our home. So the importance of holy place of pilgrimage is due to the presence of great sages and saints. It is said that sinful persons go to the holy places and leave the sins there to accumulate. But the presence of the great saints disinfects the accumulated sins, and thus the holy places continue to remain sanctified by the grace of the devotees and saints present there. If such saints appear in the homes of worldly people, certainly the accumulated sins of such worldly enjoyers become neutralized. Therefore, the holy saints actually have no self-interest with the householders. The only aim of such saints is to sanctify the houses of the householders, and the householders therefore should feel grateful when such saints and sages appear at their doors. A householder who dishonors such holy orders is a great offender. It is enjoined here, therefore, that a householder who does not bow down before a saint at once must undergo fasting for the day in order to neutralize the great offense. So this is the glorification of the saints again. So says that it's a great offense not to show them respect or honor. So we have to be very careful in the presence of any sannyasis, any great saints, that we don't go short on giving them respect. Especially don't think badly of them, in any shape or form. If they have like some extra demands or requests, sometimes we can sort of become a little agitated because they're asking a lot of things, and it's easy to do that, and because normally we would not fulfill those demands for any ordinary person, but we have to remember they are great saints, and it's just, if we are helping them, then it's for our purification, fulfill their demands and requests, and not to think badly of that. I was just thinking about, we think, we find that a lot of the sannyasis can be quite demanding at times, and but I was thinking about Mother Kunti. She looked after Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa Muni was not a personality who was not very easy to look after, and he had a lot of demands, and he was not easy to look after him. But yet she managed to please him. He was so pleased that he asked her to ask for a boon. He was very powerful. He could give such boons, and then Mata had the Pandavas, and so how amazing is that? That it, if someone can please a personality like Durvasa Muni, what to say, of our sannyasis? So it is possible if we make the effort and have the right mindset to serve. Then it's possible. Sani dhyate mahayogin pattakani mahanti api sadhyo nashyanti vaipumsam Vishnu eva suretaraha. So, just as the atheist cannot remain in the presence of the personality of Godhead, so also the invulnerable sins of a man are immediately vanquished in your presence, O saint, O great mystic. There are two classes of human beings, namely the atheist and the devotee of the Lord. The devotee of the Lord, because of manifesting godly qualities, is called a demigod, whereas the atheist is called a demon. The demon cannot stand the presence of Vishnu, the personality of Godhead. The demons are always busy in trying to vanquish the personality of Godhead, but factually, as soon as the personality of Godhead appears, by either his transcendental name, form, attributes, pastime, paraphernalia, or variegatedness, the demon is at once vanquished. It is said that a ghost cannot remain as soon as the holy name of the Lord is chanted. So this is one thing, that wherever the holy name is, there is no ghosts. The great saints and devotees of the Lord are in the list of his paraphernalia, and thus as soon as a saintly devotee is present, the ghostly sins are at once vanquished. That is the verdict of all Vedic literatures. One is recommended, therefore, to associate only with saintly devotees, so the worldly demons and ghosts cannot exert their sinister influence. So there's nothing on that. So yeah, so ghosts, and I think there was a temple. There's recently some article about a temple being made in a place which was supposed to be haunted, and nobody wanted to buy that land, and so they made a Iskcon temple there. And if there was any ghosts, and as soon as the holy name is mentioned, they would, they soon scattered and left that premises. And now, because the place has been tried and tested, there's somebody comes up and he's claiming that place, so this and that going on. Because now it's okay. Before, nobody wanted to buy it, nobody wanted to sell, they couldn't sell it, and now I think they want it back. So like that. But this is the power of the holy name. There's no demons and ghosts can stay in such a place. Api me Bhagwan Pritha Krishna Pandu Sutpriya Paitra Samisya Priti Artham Tad Gotrasya Bandhava. So Lord Krishna, the personal Godhead, is very dear to the sons of King Pandu, has accepted me as one of those relatives just to please his great cousins and brothers. So a pure and exclusive devotee of the Lord serves his family interests more dexterously than others who are attached to illusory family affairs. Generally, people are attached to family matters and the whole economic impetus of human society is moving under the influence of family affection. Such deluded persons have no information that one can render better service to the family by becoming a devotee of the Lord. The Lord gives a special protection to the family members and descendants of a devotee as well. So the devotees, family members and descendants also benefit, even though such members are themselves non-devotees, even if they are non-devotees. Maharaj Prahlad was a great devotee of the Lord, so this is the example. But his father Hiranyakashipu was a great atheist and declared enemy of the Lord. But despite all this, Hiranyakashipu was awarded salvation due to his being the father of Maharaj Prahlad. The Lord is so kind that he gives all protection to the family members of his devotee, and thus the devotee has no need to bother about his family members, even if one leaves such family members aside to discharge one's service. Maharaj Yudhishthira and his brothers were the sons of Kunti, the paternal aunt of Lord Krishna, and Maharaj Parikshit admits the patronage of Lord Krishna because of his being the only grandson of the great Pandavas. So it says that don't get stressed if family members don't become Krishna conscious. I mean, you can try, but don't get stressed if they don't become Krishna conscious. We do devotional service, it's all auspicious for our family members anyway. So our sincerity is very important before everything else. But devotee is very merciful to those who are not sincere. For example, Jigai Madai, Lord Nityananda approached them. Lord Krishna would never have done that. So Lord Krishna wouldn't, go after nonsense people. But Lord Nityananda did, because he feels that he's serving Gauranga, he's serving Lord Krishna. So he wants to serve, he wants to help people, help Lord Chaitanya in his mission. So like that. So the devotees are more merciful than even the Lord himself. I mean, Krishna can be a hard taskmaster. Takes a lot to please Krishna. So, but by the mercy of the devotees, we can learn how to please Krishna. Even if you're going back to Godhead, you may have to be trained in the Krishna Leela. The devotees there will train you before you actually go back to the spiritual world, so you know how to serve properly. You get your training, whatever 100 years of it or whatever it takes, 80 years, 100 years, whatever lifespan you have, you will have the training before you go back to Krishna Lok. 36. Anyatha te vyaktagat darshanam na katham narnam nitram mirya manam samsiddhasya viniyasaha. So otherwise, without being inspired by Lord Krishna, how is it that you have voluntarily appeared here, though you are moving incognito to the common man and are not visible to us who are on the verge of death? So Maharaj Parikshit, he's worked out how Shukadeva Goswami managed to get here. The great sage Shukadeva Goswami was certainly inspired by Lord Krishna to appear voluntarily before Maharaj Parikshit, the great devotee of the Lord, just to give him the teaching of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. One can achieve the nucleus of the devotional service of the Lord by the mercy of the spiritual master and the personality of Godhead. The spiritual master is the manifested representative of the Lord to help one achieve ultimate success. One who is not authorized by the Lord cannot become a spiritual master. Srila Sukadeva Goswami is an authorized spiritual master, and thus he was inspired by the Lord to appear before Maharaj Parikshit and instruct him in the teachings of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. One can achieve the ultimate success of going back to Godhead if he is favored by the Lord's sending his true representative. As soon as the true representative of the Lord is met by a devotee of the Lord, the devotee is assured a guarantee for going back to Godhead just after leaving the present body. This, however, depends on the sincerity of the devotee himself. The Lord is seated in the heart, finds that a particular soul is very eager to go back to Godhead. The Lord at once sends his bona fide representative. The sincere devotee is thus assured by the Lord of going back to Godhead. The conclusion is that to get the assistance and help of a bona fide spiritual master means to receive the direct help of the Lord himself. So, the spiritual master, the devotee finds the spiritual master finds the devotee, or a devotee will find someone who wants to be a devotee and help them in that way. So, first of all, we may want to go back to Godhead because we want to get out of this cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. These four things. It's terrible, right? Birth is painful, death is painful, disease is very painful, old age is painful, hair dropping out, teeth dropping out, hearing goes, sight goes, slowly we're losing our senses, and then the legs go. When the legs start going, we know we are losing it. So like that, slowly, slowly, we end up with a stick and walking, help with the stick. So many problems, and the person thinks, "What do I want to go through this again?" You want to go back home. So originally, that might be your reason for going back, but when you get the knowledge through a spiritual master, then you understand, actually, yes, we should go back, but not for that reason. We should go back to serve Krishna. That should be our motivation. And then that should be our motivation after that. Because everything else is part of the package. Don't worry. You will get all that. You get a spiritual perfect body, just like Krishna. You will get all that. You get all the facilities. You get all the knowledge. Sat Chit Anand. You will be all there. You get eternity. You get you get eternity. You will get Ananda, and you get all the knowledge that you need to know. Everything will be given to you when you go back. That is secondary. That should be seen as a secondary thing. First thing should be, I want to go back and serve the Lord. It's not that the Lord needs, we are one of the many unlimited atoms. It would not matter whether we were there or not. Just like last time we were talking about, or at least I've been reading that if a universe was helped, to become fully Krishna conscious, the Lord, he wouldn't miss it. There's plenty of other unlimited universes to help, like that. So, there's so many universes that a Lord could just ignore one universe. And what to say of one atom, one devotee, or one spirit soul? The Lord could just ignore him because he has unlimited people, living entities to work with. He would not miss, but he still cares. He cares for every atom, every living soul. This is the point. He really does care for everyone. Although we might think that, well, what does it matter that he ain't gonna care for me? I'm just one of the unlimited entities. What does it matter? But he does care. That's why he's sitting in the heart. He doesn't pick and choose whose heart he's going to sit into. He sits in everyone's heart. That's the amazing thing. All right, let's just move on. Atha pashami samsiddhim yoginam paramam gurum purushasya yat karyam mariyaman nasya sarvatha. So you are the spiritual master of great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons, and especially for one who is about to die. There you go. Now he's asking Sukadeva Goswami, please, to show the way of perfection for all persons and especially for one who is bad. So asking the same question he asked all the saints earlier, and they all gave different opinions. Now he's asking Sukadeva Goswami. So unless one is perfectly anxious to inquire about the way of perfection, there is no necessity of approaching a spiritual master. A spiritual master is not a kind of decoration for a householder. Generally, a fashionable materialist engages a so-called spiritual master without any profit. The pseudo-spiritual master flatters the so-called disciple, and thereby both the master and his ward go to hell without a doubt. So, if you take a spiritual master who is not bona fide, is a pseudo spiritual master, you will go to hell and he will also go to hell. Maharaj Parikshit is the right type of disciple because he puts forward questions vital to the interest of all men, particularly for the dying man. The question put forward by Maharaj Parikshit is the basic principle of the complete thesis of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Now let us see how intelligently the great master replies. So 38. Yat chrotavyam atho japyam yat kartavyam nirbhihi prabho samittavyam bhajinyam va bruhi yadva viparayam. So please let me know what a man should hear, chant, remember and worship and also what he should not do. Please explain all this to me. Now, also shows that Maharaj Parikshit, he was very intelligent, very knowledgeable, so he was not convinced with the various solutions that were given by the other sages. So he's asking, he's taking opinion of Shukdev Goswami. Nunam bhavato brahman greshu ghra madhinam nalakshyate hi avasthanam api godhonam kavachit. So, O powerful Brahman, it is said that you hardly stay in the house of men long enough to milk a cow. Saints and sages in the renounced order of life go to the houses of the householders at the time they milk the cows, early in the morning, and ask some quantity of milk for subsistence. A pound of milk fresh from the milk bag of a cow is sufficient to feed an adult with all vitamin values. Therefore, saints and sages live only on milk. Even the poorest of the householders keep at least 10 cows. Wow. Each delivering 12 to 20 quarts of milk, and therefore no one hesitates to spare a few pounds of milk for the mendicants. I mean, how much? 10 cows can give a lot of milk. How much milk can they take? So a lot of it probably was for charity. It's the duty of householders to maintain the saints and sages like the children. So saint like Sukadeva Goswami would hardly stay at the house of a householder for more than 5 minutes in the morning. In other words, such saints are very rarely seen in the houses of householders, and Maharaj Parikshit therefore prayed to him to instruct him as soon as possible. The householders also should be intelligent enough to get some transcendental information from visiting sages. The householder should not foolishly ask a saint to deliver what is available in the market. There should be reciprocal relation between the saints and the householders. So get some Brahm Gyan when you meet a saint, not just ask, whimsical questions, mundane questions. So 39. So we can go into a house and leave a book and leave a pure devotee there forever. So when you go to a house, leave a book, leave a Bhagavad-Gita or a small book. That way you are leaving a pure devotee with them. By Prabhupada's mercy, we are leaving Prabhupada with the householder. We are leaving the whole disciplic succession by leaving just one book which lead the householder to all the books of the highest philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So if you want to give anybody a gift, when you go to somebody's house, give them some books. When you're in the house, they're not going to say, no, I already have this book, I have this. People make so many excuses. When you're in the house, you can just leave it there. Say, look, I'm leave it here. You do whatever you want with it. I'm going to leave this book with you. So, yeah, take some books. Very nice. And finally, Sutavacha. Eva Abhishta Pristha Sarajana Salakshana Gira Pratyabhashat Dharmagyo Bhagwan Bhadraya Nahi. So Shri Suta Goswami said, the king thus spoke and questioned the sage using sweet language. Then the great and powerful personality, the son of Vyasadev, who knew the principles of religion, began his reply. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 19th chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled The Appearance of Shukadeva Goswami, and the end of the first canto. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. So thank you so much for joining today. So auspicious that today we finished it and you had your association, and love to get your views as well. Okay. Yes, Kiran Prabhu, what do you think?
Hare Krishna, everybody. Yes, the only way to seek this divine knowledge is to submissively and with humility approach the right person the right spiritual master.
Sure.
And therefore, this relationship was divinely constructed between Sukdev Goswami and Parikshit for not only Parikshit's liberation, but also for the liberation of the whole of humanity. And for Parikshit to be in this position was not just a whimsical situation. He was trained, he had sense control, he had mind control. But like even most of us, every so often we can lose it when you approach a hermitage, and something can happen and you can feel hungry and thirsty. And so what is indicated here is for us to have the greatest benefit and to achieve the greatest spiritual success, we need to have the right attitude, the right intention, and the right motivation to want to change our behaviors. And that can only happen by the association of like-minded people. Historically, the mendicants weren't engaged with kings and emperors because they were tainted with lust, women, and wealth. All go hand in hand. But Parikshit was an exception because Parikshit had the divine connection with Krishna through the Pandavas. And hence we can see that people strive so hard, to become something, celebrities, etc. But even the celebrities realize that there is something missing. Because even people like Will Smith has realized celebrity status is fine, but there's something missing. Because he needs to find the inner Arjuna. We have become infected with Maya, and so how to become disinfected and to be neutralized with all the trappings of Maya is to be in contact with spiritual teachings and spiritual people. And we have to glorify those saints when they come, as they did this weekend. And we have to be grateful that even Jagannath can come to our home, as that happened during COVID. Even saints come to our home, and we have to honor them with respect, reverence, and opulence that they rightfully deserve. And it is indicated, though, that yes, ghosts and demons exist. And so these have to be exorcised from our hearts and our minds and from places of worship. Temple was there and they thought there were ghosts and demons. You can't have the place back after you've exorcised the ghosts and the demons. And at the end of the day, the ghosts and the demons reside within us. And we're going through a form of exorcism through the Bhagavatam and through our intervention and interactions with each other. Each other acts as the conduit for exercising those demons. And therefore, through this process, by Krishna's arrangement, that we've come together. So it's only sincere devotees and sincere people that the medium of spiritual awakening occurs. Our primary role is not to be liberated, but to serve Krishna. And so each day, serving each other is serving Krishna. Serving the deities is serving Krishna. Serving humanity is serving Krishna. And Sukdev Goswami and Parikshit, that was a divine relationship. The right questions and the right answers were asked. For all of us, Parikshit knew hearing, chanting, worshipping were the answers. But sometimes we have to make the implicit explicit. And this was explicitly now being highlighted in preceding or subsequent chapters or subsequent cantos. And therefore, the milk that the mendicants come to collect in the morning, the milk will sustain you. The milk products will sustain you. Ghee, butter, anything else that arise from there. And all else you need is a bit of grain and a bit of leafy substances. And what more do you need? And this is the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is a liberating element in our lives. And so the subsequent cantos will give us more revelations. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for a wonderful explanation, Prabhu. Hina Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much. I guess we see here we're going to see the answers. We'll hear the answers soon to very important, relevant questions that Maharaj Parikshit is asking. What is the duty of everyone, and what's the duty of someone about to die? And these are questions which could say are applicable to the whole of humanity, past, present, and future. The answer to these questions, universal relevance, essentially. And we also see in these verses how much respect is being offered by Maharaj Parikshit, the Sukadev Goswami. And it shows us how greatly elevated Sukadev Goswami was, and it also is instructive in terms of how holy people should be highly revered, and they're not ordinary persons that we should we should seek their association and take advantage of any opportunities to do so. This is very rare. It's very rare to come into contact with holy people, and I think it's great in this current day and age. With the digital age we can listen in, and we can hear the lectures, and we can hear the words of those that are of senior devotees, of senior sannyasis in general, online. And there's also a very nice point. There's a very nice explanation in the purport about how the importance of a guru in helping one to go back to Godhead, and that one's success is guaranteed, which is also very, very nicely explained by Srila Prabhupada. So, those were the key things for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Babaji. Radharani?
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. Yes, we've seen that Parikshit Maharaj hasn't taken any credit. He says that it is only due to Pandavas that Krishna gave him darshan before he was born, and he is so humble, and this is what we are supposed to be in our spiritual life. We should give credit to how we came into Krishna consciousness. If we remember that, then we will stay in a humble mood to learn more and more, and blessings of Krishna come in the association of the devotees, and this is how Krishna brings the mercy to the mankind. And it also say, when we say Guru Krishna Prasade by Bhakti Lata Bij, so as we know, we all started because somebody gave us something, whether it was prasad, a book, or few lines, which started our journey of bhakti. And also it's highlighted in one of the verses that we should approach spiritual master for spiritual enquiry only, And we can see that Parikshit Maharaj has done the same. He's asking the spiritual questions which are going to benefit everyone. And in his kind of situation, he wants a perfection of life, and this is what we have to strive for. And now the questions will be answered in the subsequent cantos, and also the Vedic culture is highlighted, how the cows were kept, and we can see that how weak we have become. We can barely look after ourselves in this day and age. Never mind looking after cow, and those who are looking after, we can just bow down to them, that it's hard work and they are able to do so. And it's been so nice journey going through this canto, and I'm looking forward to the overviews in the coming weeks. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So no classes, readings for next 2 weeks, as we know. And so Wednesday, overview of this chapter, so beautiful. And then week after, overview of the whole canto 1. That'll be so wonderful. So please join if you can, and let's really, drink this canto 1 before we move on to canto 2 in 2 weeks' time. We'll start. So, look forward to your association. Nantara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.